Hey everyone, welcome back to the Real Estate Rundown here with Marcy, where we meet with top professionals in our real estate industry, and we got a show prepared for you today. Stay tuned. Welcome back everyone to the Real Estate Rundown here with Marcy, and I can't wait to share this story with you today. Today I have a very special guest, Jerry Libbin, here with me today, where we're going to hear about what's he been up to lately, a little bit about him, and his new book.
Thank you, Marcy. That's really generous of you. And I remember our relationship started, a bunch of years ago when you joined the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce and I was the CEO, and you've done amazing since then.
Thank you, Jerry, for being here. I want to share with the audience a little bit about you, who you are. You're a big prominent figure here in our community, and share a little bit about your story and who you are.
Well, thank you. It's humbling, to be honest. I moved here in 1982 to open up the first Jewish community center in Miami Beach. And over time, that was about 6 years, and I got even more involved in Miami Beach. The reason I moved to Miami was to really have a larger voice. And I was fortunate to be elected to the Miami Beach City Commission in 2005. I served for 8 years. And then I also served as the president and CEO of the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce for 13 and a half years. Along the way, got a lot of licenses, including a real estate license just a year ago, a travel business that I have, and got to write a book. Never thought I'd write a book.
I know. So I want to ask you, what inspired you to write the book?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, I never really thought I'd write a book, obviously, and it is a labor of love, but I was a member of a investment club called Genesis Business Humanity. And this was in 23, some point in 23, I joined this club. And it was really an online version of investing in startups. But came a day in 23 that they said, let's all meet. So we met and had a luncheon, and everyone was asked to stand up and introduce themselves. And of course, everyone introduces, I'm so happy to be here. And when it was my turn, I said, I am really happy to be here because I died February 18th of 2022. That's what you heard, nothing. It was a pin drop. And I proceeded to tell the story about a heart transplant and kidney transplant that I had in March of 22 after I died. And so someone approached me and said, I have to sit with you at lunch. And that name was Jeff Michelle. He bugged me for like 6 months. You gotta write a book. It's amazing. I've written 3 books. You gotta write a book. So because of that meeting, it prompted me to get off my butt and start writing a book.
Yeah, I remember when you told me, your transplant story and everything, and I was like, we got to go to lunch, right? It's really inspiring. You are a walking miracle.
Science today, medical, it is astounding, really. And in the book, I talk about all the different things. Honestly, I feel like I'm on my 6th or 7th life, which, the cats have 9 lives. I have about 3 left or so. But, when you have a transplant, you're 100% immunosuppressed. They take immunosuppressants for life. And by all rights, anything, a cold could literally kill you. I got COVID a month after my surgery, immunosuppressed, and I obviously am still here. I had a pulmonary embolism, which the statistics, 1/3 of the people die instantly, 1/3 have brain damage permanently, and 1/3 are survivors. So I'm still here. And a lot of different things have happened over the past, 2 years or so since I had the transplant. And so I feel like part of it is the Lord wants me to do something, and maybe it's producing this book to tell the story that I have more things to do. That's why I'm still here.
It's besides all of that, which is a lot, just even getting on the list to get an organ is a big ordeal. And tell me about what should everyone know if they're going through this?
Well, the first thing is I think you have to understand that we're all mortal, even if you think you're not, and you think you're going to live forever, you're so healthy. It's extremely difficult. And what I found is that I had to meet with 8 or 10 professionals in different disciplines. You wouldn't think of it, but I had to meet with a social worker, because a social worker, and by the way, any one of these people could X you and that's it, you don't make the list, okay? So the social worker wanted to make sure that I had the discipline to follow through and take the medications that I have to take for life. And so I had to share, hey, listen, these are things I do, so okay, past that. I had to meet with a financial consultant, because things are expensive. Are you going to have the wherewithal to buy the medication? It's going to be like $1,300 a month. I said, well, where am I going? What else can I do? Of course, I'm going to do it. And then every single medical professional has to, are your kidneys okay? Is your stomach okay? Is your heart okay? I mean, obviously the heart wasn't okay, but you don't want you to die of lung cancer. So they evaluate every single part of your body. So my message is, you need to have a track record. You need to have competent medical people that are following you with a baseline. And the minute there's a sign of trouble, you need to, follow through, do what you need to do, listen to the experts, and get started quickly. I was so fortunate to be able to get on that list once I knew I needed to be in about a month and a half, which is record-breaking time. So I just pushed the pedal to the metal. And that's it. I mean, it's very, very difficult to get on the list. And I got on the list, fortunately, about 1 month before I died. And I literally died in my apartment. And because another thing that I had done early on, listening to my cardiologist, I had a pacemaker defibrillator installed. Never thought I needed it. And that defibrillator restarted my heart.
Wow.
The medical definition of death is when your heart stops. So I died.
It's amazing. And to live through it and be here today and gone through everything, it's just inspiring. Let's go back a little bit about the book. It's part, medical memoir, part motivational leadership. What makes a great leader today?
Well, you're a great leader, and people that are CEOs of companies, Harvard actually did a study, and it came out from CEOs that 96% of the CEOs felt that creativity was critical, amongst other things. There is, first of all, I would say you have to be dedicated and disciplined in anything you do, any business. The dedication to learn your trade, the discipline to do everything necessary to become top-notch in your trade. I think about Malcolm Gladwell, when he talked about the 10,000 hours of practice to help you become an expert. Well, one night, not long ago, I was walking out in the evening and I was listening to a new podcast from Malcolm, and he was walking back that idea that 10,000 hours make you an expert, because in fact they don't. They make you proficient. And I reminded myself also of my basketball coach in college, Coach Dietrich, and he used to say, it's a fallacy that practice makes perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So, together that tells you that you need to be, dedicated and focused and continue to work on your trade. And that means building relationships. The key to success in life and in business is developing strong relationships, because they're the key to your success, honestly. I also think that time management is definitely important for a CEO, and you have to have a plan and a goal, and you got to go after that with vigor, but be open to modifying the plan as necessary. And I think creativity is the key to that.
It's so many things, so many pillars, so many things that create, a successful CEO or a business. And those are some of the foundational things. One is, I think also very important, when there's a will, there's a way.
Thank you for saying that, because when I was in my bed post-surgery, my son-in-law came to visit, and this was, by the way, this was right in the height of COVID still, and they were allowing only one person a day to visit. He came and he brought me a book written, and I strongly suggest people read this, by Ryan Holiday. It's called The Obstacle is the Way. And at this point, it was only like a day or so after my surgery, I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't even move my toes, literally, okay? And I was starting to read this book. It's a very quick read. And The Obstacle is the Way tells stories, real life stories of people who found challenges in their life. Like, I was facing this tremendous challenge. I didn't know if at that point, I'm like, I don't know if I can walk. And it tells their story about how they adapted and what they did to overcome the obstacle. And if this doesn't work, you try this. And if this doesn't work, you try that. And it was inspirational for me. So I really found that very helpful. And I think anyone would benefit by that.
Let's talk a little bit about this cover. I'm looking at it, and thank you. This book was dedicated to me, and I'm so grateful for this. I'm looking at it, and it's red, and I love it. Was a symbol of the heart?
It is, because February, it was actually published in February, and February is Heart Month. And so we designed it specifically to have the book launch, available in February. It's available on Amazon and a bunch of other places. Plug, if you do read it, please go back and give a nice review on Amazon. But yeah, it was designed, and also, the Chambers of the Heart is kind of a play on the fact that I was at the Chamber of Commerce for 13 years. But the Chambers of the Heart is an interesting story, if I may, in terms of how it actually functions. And I talk about this in the book. how, because people don't think about this, you're not into anatomy or whatever, but oxygen, flows through the blood when it leaves the heart. It is basically a measurement that they call the ejection fraction, the percentage of blood that every time your heart beats that leaves the heart and carries the oxygen to your body is called an ejection fraction. A normal ejection fraction is between 50 and 70% on each pump. Mine was down to like 31. I want to talk about what really happens. So that oxygen gets taken out of the blood, feeds your muscles and everything, and it comes back to the right atrium on the right side of your heart, and it's oxygen depleted. And then it pumps from the right atrium to the right ventricle into the lungs where it gets reoxygenated, goes to the left atrium and the left ventricle that pumps it out to the body again, okay? In the book, I give you an analogy of how that anatomical system is similar to creativity. And here's what I'm talking about, because I think this is really one of the essences of being successful in your business. So if your business needs some tweaking, whatever your business, if you're in real estate, or whatever business you're an architect, whatever you're doing, sometimes you hit a rough road and you need to reinvigorate. And so think about, well, what can I do get out of this slump and to rebuild? So the analogy is your business is hitting that rough patch. It's when the oxygen depleted blood is getting to your right atrium. Then you start to think about an idea and hey, maybe I could try this and maybe I could try that. And that's when it's pumped to the right ventricle. And then it goes into the lungs and gets reoxygenated. Now you're giving your new idea a try. You're putting the money into it, you're trying something, you're experimenting, they don't always work, but you give that a try and it gets pumped out to the left atrium, and now it goes to the left ventricle, and your business now starts on a new track, and you start using that new experience.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's interesting how that scenario is really similar to what you need to do in creativity to jumpstart a business or a life experience.
It's just amazing how you put everything together in the book by your experiences with leadership and business and everything, and how you applied it towards life itself. The book is all about steps in life, important events that happen to you. Give us the key bottom line to why people should get this book.
In the book, I tell stories about myself from early, like 6, 7 years old, because I want to show that these were real life things that happened to me, and through those real life stories, I point out the takeaway. And at the end of the book, there's 20 actual lessons in life. The stories talk about things that happened to me, which may not be all that interesting to some others, but the point that happens in those stories is you learn about the lesson that I took away and how you can then think about applying it in your life, in whatever business you're in. I'm
so happy to have you here, Jerry. Please share. I know you gave a little plug-in before, but people need to know where to get this book, and tell them Amazon. Share with the audience how to get a copy of this book.
So if you just go on AmazonBooks.com, it's there. Any other bookstores, they have their own Books of Books or whatever it is. I just got on a bookstore in London. My publisher, copyright editor, she's very connected, and so she's getting me all over the place. And I do have a launch, an actual book launch next Wednesday night at the Bath Club. I don't know when this will be aired, so it's probably too late. But I'll be doing various speaking engagements, around the community, and I think I have 5 or 6 already lined up. So
let's do a book tour.
There you go. But thank you, Marcy. It's a wonderful opportunity to be here today. I really appreciate it.
No.
And again, what you've done with your business, you really are a true professional.
Thank you.
One more thing, if I can say, that I think being creative is so important, and you have to distinguish yourself in any business, because let's talk about real estate. Seemingly every other person has a real estate license. It's like, hey, you want to sell that? Oh, I'm already a realtor, I'll sell it myself. So what distinguishes you? You have to have something that sets you apart. So I felt the thing that could set me apart is that I would pay for relocation services out of my commission if someone was moving to town, if they needed it, and I would use Worldwide Title, because that's one of the things that you provide. The other thing, my wife being a psychologist, I would offer 2 complimentary sessions. I would pay her as a professional, and she would provide information on the best schools for your children if it was needed. And again, through the good fortune that I've got so many connections as a former commissioner and a chamber president, I also have the ability to connect people. So if someone's moving here and their wife or husband needed a job, they're a nurse, I could introduce them to Mount Sinai Hospital or Baptist Hospital or whatever. So through all of that together, I think I provide unique opportunities. But everyone in whatever business you're in has to find a way to distinguish yourself in order to set yourself apart and be successful.
100% agree. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in today. We're going to share a link on where to get the book at the end of the bio. Make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye-bye.